Welcome, everyone. This is the City Council monthly City Council meeting. This is where we vote on the things that we normally talk about on Monday night, and it's great to see everybody here. And before we get started, I'd like to ask Dr. Mason from Loganville Christian Academy to come up with the invocation. And I've got at least one veteran in the audience who's going to come up and help with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Balaus, for the invitation to be here, and I bring you all greetings on behalf of Rachel Ernst and our leadership at Loganville Christian Academy. I am Dr. Janicia Mason, and I currently serve as the development manager there. And so we are in the community, we are here, most of our students live right here in Loganville, and we've been a part of this community for 26 years. I know Ms. Christy Monda and Mr. Doug Monda personally, and they are great people. We are a great school, and we always want to ask the city of Loganville to continue to support us. So let's go to the Father. Father God, we love you. We ask that you come into this place. We ask that you come into our hearts. We ask that you come into our minds. Lord God, we ask you to come in only the way that you know how. Lord God, we ask that you keep our minds clear, keep our hearts even clearer. Lord God, we ask you that if there are any issues that we need to vote on that can be just not of you, we ask that you intercede and you bring your spirit and you humble us, and that every decision that is made here tonight is because of you and not because of man. Lord God, you have shown us such great love. You have shown us such great compassion. Let's continue to show that in this great city of Loganville. Lord God, I ask you, and I ask all of these things in your son, Jesus' name. Amen. And Mr. Balaus, I do have some information about Loganville. We do have so I just wanted to leave it with you. We do have a golf tournament coming up. We would love your support, and we're here. So just want to leave this with you.
A growing school.
Yes, it's a great school. Yes, my son actually started with the pre-K3 program, so we've been there 3 years now. So. He caught me by surprise. Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mason, best of luck to you in the future. I'll be by to see you. We're going to need some money. Okay, on the roll call tonight, we have all the council members here, so we're ready to go. And we need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Okay, we have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, the agenda is adopted. Now we need to move on to the consent agenda. And for those of you that were not here Monday night or were, the consent agenda is the things that we talked about on Monday night that all of the council agrees with, and this is things that have to be done. Sort of a housekeeping for us because we don't want this meeting to last past midnight. I think we can get out of here by midnight, but anyway, do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Motion to accept.
Okay, have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, consent agenda is adopted. And now we will move on to Planning and Development Committee report. Lisa Newberry and Paul Rosenthal, I guess. Lisa, you're on.
Okay, so tonight we're going to hear or talk about the cases that we listened to in the public hearing on Monday night. I'll read them out. Case number R24-005, the Revive Lane Group, care of Anderson, Tate, and Carr, filed an application requesting to rezone approximately 11.602 acres located at 246 Line Street, Loganville, Georgia 30052, map parcel LG 040062 in Walton County, Georgia, The property owner is Lock, Stock and Roll LLC. The current zoning is MHP, and the requested zoning is RM6, and the proposed development of fee simple townhomes. Case number R24-006, the Revive Lane Group, care of Anderson, Tate and Carr, filed an application requesting to rezone approximately 4.981 acres located at 234 Line Street, Loganville, Georgia, 30052, map parcel LG 040063, Walton County, Georgia. The property owner is Ronald Clifford Peeler. The current zoning is LI, and the requested zoning is RM6, with the proposed development of fee simple townhomes. So at this time, I'd just like to open up to council to see if anybody has anything else for discussion. No? Okay, well, hearing none, I've got a motion prepared, and this is quite lengthy. The property is currently zoned LI and MHP. Rezoning this property to a medium-density residential use will be a significant downsizing that removes the heavier, more intensive uses of LI and MHP from this part of our city that is in close proximity to other residences in our downtown core. Also, permitting these residential units to be detached single-family homes over detached two-family homes also results in a less intensive use on this property. A higher density like RM4 is also appropriate here, and compared to other less density residential detached single-family residential zoning categories such as R22 and R44. Given this parcel's close proximity to our downtown core and its transitional location between heavier commercial uses to the west and in-town residential uses to the east and to the south. Additionally, allowing a higher density use here like RM4 because of the location of this parcel in close proximity to our downtown core, its location next to heavy commercial uses, its current heavy intensive zoning classifications of LI and MHP, as well as its smaller size of only 16.5 acres, does not in any way set any type of negative precedent somehow that we magically can say that RM4 is now an appropriate zoning classification in any other predominantly residential area of the city and any that are currently zoned less than dense residential zoning classifications such as R22 and R44. So based on these considerations, I'd like to make a motion to rezone the property located at 234 and 236 Line Street, map parcel numbers LG 040062 and LG 040063, consisting of approximately 16.5 acres from LI to MHP to RM4, with a maximum of 64 detached residential units to be constructed on the property with the following conditions. 1, the maximum of 64 simple single-family detached units as depicted on the conceptual site plan submitted to the city on March 13, 2024. Residents shall be a minimum of 1,800 square feet heated. All residents must have enclosed two-car garage. Lot widths must be a minimum of 40 feet at the front lot road frontage. Minimum side yard shall be 5 feet. Minimum distance between the residents shall be 10 feet. Roads within this project shall be private roads, and the HOA shall be responsible for all upkeep and maintenance. Mandatory HOA membership for all resident owners. The HOA shall own all common area property within the property and be responsible for maintenance and upkeep of all common areas. For fire safety, no vinyl siding shall be permitted for exterior facades. All facades must be made of brick, stone, or other masonry based on product such as hardy board or hardy plank. Vinyl products may be permitted only in the construction of the eaves, soffit, drip edges, windows, and doors of the residence. Number 10 is to require a second driveway along Lawrenceville Road that will serve as an emergency access point that will be gated with a Knox box subject to GDOT approval. Number 11, widen the roadway on Line Street, creating a dedicated left turn and right turn lanes for no fewer than 5 cars attempting to turn onto Lawrenceville Road subject to GDOT approval. Number 12 is installation of an 8-foot chain link fence between the residence and abutting residential parcels located at 4077 and 4125 Lawrenceville Road and along the property line with 4075 Lawrenceville Road to stream the buffer. Nothing is to be done with the sewer easement or stormwater pond access easement. This will be subject to review by Planning Department staff before the issuance of a development permit. This chain link fence shall be installed as soon as feasible after the issuance of the land disturbance permit for the project. Ensure that the HOA is responsible for limiting the number of residents that can be rented to up to 10% of the total project at any given point in time. Number 14 is create a covered pavilion in one of the common areas of the project. Number 15 is to remove the hammerheads and replace with cul-de-sacs within the project. And number 16, prior to construction of any residence located on or within 200 feet of the location of the existing pond on the property that is scheduled to be removed and backfilled, the building pad shall be evaluated by a licensed geotechnical engineer to determine if the allowable soil bearing pressure is adequate for the type of foundation proposed. Geotechnical engineers' evaluation summaries shall be submitted along with each building permit application and building foundation design. The geotechnical engineer must evaluate each footing, excavation prior to steel reinforcement or concrete placement. Conditions observed during the inspection should be compared to the foundation design requirements and verified by the geotechnical engineer.
Okay. Could you repeat that? Okay, we have a motion. Could we have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Aye. Okay, so we have 4-2. So it is passed, and that will be the development we will see in about 2 years. Yes, ma'am. 4125? I think it did.
Yes, it does.
It
Yes,
does.
ma'am.
Okay. With that said, anything else, Lisa?
No, sir.
Nothing, you don't have another book?
Oh, no, I do not. Nothing on these cases. We do have the
Huh?
candidates, but nothing on these cases.
Okay. Well, now we're going to move into our Planning Commission interviews. We have 2 openings on our Planning Zoning Commission, and we have 3 openings, and we have 4 candidates. So we'll be doing interviews for the next little while and take care of that, and we'll get our new people for that and go from there. Okay, Robbie, are you ready?
Are you ready for me?
Go ahead.
I just want to take a minute to let everybody know that I am good friends with Kathy Swanson, who is one of the candidates being interviewed. I wanted to make that declaration and also wanted to give anyone in here a chance to ask me to recuse myself if you feel the slightest bit uncomfortable with me making a decision on somebody that I'm good friends with. And there's no embarrassment in making that suggestion. I'll be happy to recuse myself. So what do you think?
Will you choose the best candidate regardless of your friendship?
I will.
Then I'm fine.
Anybody out here? Everybody okay? Oh, wait. What? Okay. Be happy to. Should I, what about, is it leave the room?
No, common practice, it used to be that when one would recuse themselves, they were asked to remove themselves from the days. Common practice today is that when someone recuses themselves on any matter, is they simply do not participate in any of the discussions, they do not participate in any deliberations, and of course, certainly, they do not participate in the vote. So I have no problem with you stating on the record you're recusing yourself. I think it's quite appropriate for you to have done that had you chosen to either direction, candidly. But then from that perspective, just simply remain there and be quiet, and you're good to go.
Well, Okay. Can I have her pick who's going first? Well,
Sure, I
can we-
don't
can we-
I don't think casting lots is going to, be a big issue.
Can we wait just a second, Robbie?
Yeah, we gotta wait for Danny.
Wait for Dan to get back with his scoring sheets. I'd just like to make a little bit of a comment. I really appreciate the tenacity of the council in not just taking a look at something and saying yay or nay, but to negotiate and try to find the best solution for our city. And we think that's what's happened. There'll be some that disagree with that, and I get that. But we believe that that is what's in the best interest of the city, and that's what we're here for. So with that said, and is Danny back? Not back yet?
No,
I guess I could sing national. Can you sing good?
I can probably sing better than you, but I'm
I
also
think you
smart
could.
enough to know I can't sing.
Anybody can sing better than I can. But anyway, we'll get started in just a second.
Mr. Mayor, could we go down through the committees? We've got two that I could say I have no actionable items.
Okay, while we're waiting for Danny, good point. We'll move on to the Finance Human Resource Committee, and I think it's going to be limited.
I have no actionable items.
Aha, done. Then we can move to Public Safety Committee. Patty Wolf.
Nope,
All right,
that's
Patty
me.
Wolf, Melanie Long.
And I do have items,
She does have an
so.
item.
I do have items, so you're gonna have to skip me.
That's okay, go ahead.
I can't. It's a, well, it's a show and a video and some, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, it's
I
going to
mean,
take too long? Okay.
Yep, that's what I'm
fine,
saying.
we'll come back to you.
Okay.
And we'll wait for Danny. But every minute we wait, we lose part of our audience.
I can go.
Okay, Bill?
What am I, chopped liver?
No?
So, as we discussed Monday night, the city requests to install the pump grinder at the Logan Pump Station. We've received the quote. The quote for the installation is $41,903. Is there any other discussion? I'll make a motion that we approve the installation for the $41,903.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It's approved. You're right, Bill. What else you got?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all.
You got some more time? Sure.
Yeah, I can go.
Who else wants to go? Brandon?
Thank you, Mayor. I have no actionable items tonight, but Christy, do we want to talk about the car show coming up, our next event?
Hello, everyone. Our first event will be on Saturday, May 4th. It is our Masters Car Club Car Show, and that will be held on our town green it'll start around, cars will start arriving around 7:30 that morning, and we'll be here till about 3. So I hope y'all come join us. And then we'll have an event every weekend in May except the last weekend. So thank you.
And she's just about ready to get into her event season with how many, 5 concerts or 6? 6 concerts. Very good, it'll be fun.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, now we have the scoring sheets. Robbie, are you ready?
All right, just like the mayor and council here, I want to thank the candidates that we do have that were willing to put forth their applications to serve on our planning commission. So we'll just jump right into it. Stand up, stand up. You want to sit down? All right. So the first question of the night. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I'm Kathy Swanson.
Adam Shanks.
Michael Joyner.
Linda Dodd.
All right, what made you want to seek the office on the Planning Commission?
I moved to Loganville in 2006 and started coming to meetings about 4 years ago to get involved in how we can make the city downtown area better. And the more meetings I come to, the more I realize that planning and zoning is a big part of deciding what's going to be done inside of our city limits and out within the city limits of Loganville, and that's why I want to be on the committee.
Great. No, just, you go ahead.
I moved to Loganville in 2016 for a job, and I thought it was going to be a temporary thing, and now I feel like my roots are here. I really enjoyed everything that I've come across since being here. The people have all been wonderful. The city itself, I've grown to love. What's not to like about it, except the weather sometimes, right? But that's anywhere. I want to help be able to organize and plan things. I've always had a knack for seeing the big picture, and I feel that this is something that I could excel in and help the city forecast things out into the future instead of being short-sighted, see things down the road so that we can heed any issues that might come up.
For myself, I've been here since 2008. My family and I, we're a military family. I left the military and started working for Department of Defense. I have now decided to leave the Department of Defense as a civilian. So now I'm at home, and I like to be a part of the community and participate in any way. Being on the board may help do that. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, Freddie and I moved here in 1996. I had a really good friend that was involved in politics, and he talked me, or at that time the council nominated people to be on the Planning and Zoning Commission board, and I got nominated, and I was on it for 2 years. Then he talked me into running for city council the first time, and I lost, but that's okay. Then I ran the second time and got in, ran the third time and got in. So I have spent 8 years on city council. Planning and zoning, like he said, is a very, very, very big part of what we do. And I think that the people that are on planning and zoning, if they get out there and really ask the questions and do the research and do the things that need to be done, they can give the council a good suggestion or good advice instead of just saying, you know, well, they want me to vote for it, so I'm going to vote for it. So I don't want to do that. I've always, the whole time I was on council, I voted my heart, I voted my mind, I voted my convictions. I never let people persuade me one way or the other. I do what I think is best for the city. And I want to be able to do this for the city for the, next several years, and then I'll probably get out of it altogether. So, but I'd like to go back into it for a little bit and just stay in touch with what's going on in the city.
Good.
Next one, Mr. Shanks. Sorry. All right, the second question of the evening is, what steps do you think are important for a planning commission member to take to prepare for a hearing?
Couldn't say anything until the timer started. You have to do a lot of research, find out, what's in the area, what people want, what people don't want. It's not about my decision and how I feel. It's about the greater choice of us all, right? Sometimes there's going to be things that some of us don't want, and that's okay. Sometimes there's going to be things that only a few do want, and you got to take the good with the bad with the good, and do your best to provide. Well, in this position, I'd have to do my best to provide the proper information to give City Council, their most up-to-date information as far as being able to make a decision one way or another. Ultimately, they decide what's best for all of us, and we did vote them to be there, so we have to respect, what's decided. But all I can do is learn the things I need to learn, do the footwork, beat the path, talk to people around the city, and find out how they feel about certain issues and what's going on in town.
I would, for planning purposes, I would look at the property. If we're talking about property, planning for future, seeing the property for myself, get an understanding of the case, also get opinions from my peers that I work with, those that's on the board, talking with, if there's a project manager, seeing why they want to change to the property, what's the focus, and also getting an understanding of the history of the property. If the property hasn't changed in years, what's the purpose for changing that property? And also, definitely, with my research, actually come here prepared with a question to be asked during the hearing.
Well, like I just said earlier, you do have to get out there and do your homework, because there's lots of variances that go into deciding on whether we want something to come into our city. But I do want to see our city grow. I want to see it. I want to see young people be able to come down and live downtown and work downtown and play downtown. And the only way that you can do that and do it with a clear conscience is to do your homework and make sure that you've talked to everybody that you need to talk to. Talk to Robbie, talk to you, because you are in charge of the planning and zoning, so you've got the most information of anybody. So I think that is one thing that we need to do. Always need to, get your opinion and talk to you about the situation. So that's what I would do to help the city.
Well, I think the first thing you need to do is to read the application in detail and find out exactly what they want to do. I think you need to go and visit the site. I think you need to look at the land use map, look at what the demographics are surrounding the property that they're wanting to rezone, find out what's cohesive within that area of where they're trying to rezone, and then make a discussion with everybody on the committee.
All right, our third question for the night. How would you deal with the outside influences that may attempt your decision-making process?
First, I'll put my personal aspects out of it. Again, getting opinions of those of my peers, as being a part of the board, outside influence is not a place to make a decision. I would like to hear from the community, but I will not be influenced by a particular group, individual, any person that wants to put forth themselves. Make sure that I don't put forth myself. It's not personal, it's always professional, and I'll look at the regulations, the policies, and what Loganville vision is, and that will be my focus.
Well, after having sat on council for 8 years, you get a lot of people that want to sway your opinion on things. But I have always, in the 8 years that I was on council, voted what I thought was the best thing for the city. Not for me, or not for my friend, or not for somebody else that I know. And I think the only way that you can do that is to stay focused on what you're looking at, what you've got to vote on. And it may not be, everybody may not like that vote, but you've got to have thick skin and know that you're here to live another day. So I would let people influence me on my vote. I would vote with my heart and what I think is the best thing for the city. And I'll just stay standing.
No, they still got to answer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay, I was going to say the same thing that I remembered.
Well, I think the first thing I would do is not answer the phone if I don't know who's calling, which I don't do now anyway. I think that goes back to making decisions on planning and zoning, reading the application, following the land use map, looking at the demographics, and talking to other people on the planning and zoning, and what's going to fit with the property that's being rezoned, and outside influences won't have anything to do with the decision you make.
The only people's advice and information that matters to me and should be to anyone on this board is people in this room or people in the community when coming to making decisions for the city itself. Outside influence should play minimal to no factor to anything that we do. It should be things that are to our heart, as a community, not as an individual, as a community. What's going to affect us all? Someone in the next city over, or whatever different, powers to be out of this city might try to influence us, but we are who we are, and we know what goes on every day in our city, and we know what's best for it. Therefore, I probably wouldn't listen to too much outside influence.
All right, and our final question for the evening. What do you think is the single most important skill for a member of the Planning Commission?
Well, I think the most important skill is to listen, ask questions, do research, and make sure that you know exactly what you're talking about when you come to your meetings. I know meetings aren't held every month. Sometimes they're scheduled every month, but we don't always have one every month. But I think prior to that meeting, you know what's going to come up at that meeting. I think you need to be prepared and be able to ask questions so that you can make the right decision that will help the city and help the city council to make a good decision also.
I think the single most important is compromise. You may not agree with what's being rezoned or what's coming in front of the board, but being willing to compromise in what's most important for the city is, to me, the most important thing.
For me, the most important thing is to have an unbiased opinion, to have an open mind, whichever way the decision goes, and try to make it work the best for everybody. Yeah, that's it.
I think he took my answer of being unbiased, but if you don't mind, just a quick, I left my last position. I worked at audit and compliance, and we were responsible for our organization's property, whether it's a facility, whether it's the security, what's on the installation, and also personnel touching IT networks and those administrative network. Being on the audit compliance team is very important for us to be the middle person between those that are being inspected and those that are part of the being evaluated. So my thing is that you must be in the medium, but give your opinion when asked about it, always be professional, and be upfront with everybody from both sides of the teams. Those that are being inspected, whether it's a facility piece or somebody that's the third party that's coming to inspect our organization.
All right. Well, again, I'd like to thank all of y'all for, the four of y'all for coming out and doing your applications. The council has, I'm sure, a tough task ahead of them in scoring this, and we will be letting you know the appointees before the April meeting.
Thanks to all of you. Appreciate you. Okay, that concludes the interviews we've got as the council has until March the 29th to turn in their votes, or their, I guess, their scorecards. Okay, with that said, we'll move now to Public Safety Committee, and yes, this time it is Melanie Long.
Thank you, Mayor. I got a couple of things. First of all, I've got the 2024 annual fire stats that are our fire statistics up to date, well, through February. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just wanted to point out our firemen, how busy they stay these days. They had 15 fire calls between January and February already this year. And they had 250 rescue medical incidents, January and February combined. These guys stay busy. They're out there. They're saving lives every day, and I want us to all appreciate them. And along that same lines, I don't know how many of y'all recently saw Sergeant Peterson with our Loganville Police Department. He's our SRO officer at Bay Creek Elementary. 11 Alive's Caitlin Ross did a wonderful story on him, went and kind of shadowed him through the day. I didn't know what the program exactly involved and what it is, a lunch program. The children get points for good behavior, I guess, throughout each day, and it adds up. And they can use those tickets to buy anything from cupcakes to little games, little toys and everything. Or they can take 100 points, which apparently is a lot of points for kids behaving well. And they can take 100 points and they can buy a ticket to have lunch with Sergeant Peterson. And he has had 419 students this year already. I believe, is it this year already, Chief? Or is that combined since his program started? He's actually up to 538. So these children would prefer to eat lunch with a police officer over getting a prize or a cupcake. And I think that is a wonderful thing, because what it tells me is that he's a wonderful human being, and I've met him. He's a great guy. And he's given influence. And what it tells me is maybe these children are starved for that kind of role model. And I wish we had more of this, but I applaud him. And I believe we have the video here. It's just a few minutes long, so I'd like for y'all to watch his news story. And while that's being queued up, I went on Caitlin Ross's page and looked. And he had a lot of comments on the story. And there were people, parents on there apparently going and saying, I'm so glad he's still there. He was there in 2004. He was there when my kids were there. They still talked about him to this day. And that is a wonderful legacy that this man is going to leave our city. And what a wonderful influence he has been to our children. And so I'd like for y'all just to take a few minutes and watch this.
Kids hungry for the opportunity to earn the school's best treat. 100 points. I immediately drawn to fabulous Mr. Blessback. The kids don't just want to spend time with Sergeant Pearson, they want to look like him too. Making that lunch date the most expensive ticket in town. And we had an increase because it was becoming so popular that we finally needed to put the price on a little higher. Principal Dr. Tammy Delk says the meal is worth it. He might have one 3 or 4 times a day. Really? Sergeant Peterson's dined with 419 students so far this year. What do you guys want to do about that? Eating popsicles, playing Jenga. Breaking bread with a few kids each lunch period. When we got to eat here. Up to 4 times a day. I'll start first lunch. Vegetables, the second lunch I made, went to yogurt or whatever I
So I hope y'all all realize what a treasure we have in him. I asked if he could be here tonight. He is with his own children. They have a sporting event in Duluth, so I think pretty soon we'll probably do something to honor him. And Chief, is there anything that council can do to help facilitate this and make this even more successful than it already is?
Not that I know of, Ms. Long. It's all of the teachers. It's incredible when you go there and do it. And not only is it important for these children, but these relationships that he's building, as you said, because it's been there long term. We actually have former students whose children now are under his protection. So it builds relationships outside of the school, and it's beneficial for all of us.
Well, thank you. And please pass along, as I already have, but pass along how much we appreciate him.
Why don't
and
we
we'll
give him
see
a hand,
soon.
because he's probably watching.
Oh, is he?
Let's give him
Okay,
a watch.
yeah.
Stand up.
Very good.
And he also plays a mean guitar in the Funky Brewster Band.
But anyway, that is all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. Okay, we'll move now to Public Works Facility Committee. Patty Wolf.
Chief, I never wanted to be a police officer because I don't even know how to use a gun, let alone carry one. But 4 lunches a day, I might reconsider. He said he ate 4 lunches a day. Bless his little old heart. I love
Yeah,
that.
but you saw what he was eating?
Yeah, but you know, I can eat what I want as long as I can eat 4 lunches, right?
I bet he begs
He's
for a
precious,
burger every now and then.
precious. We had a facilities request to approve for a remodel and upgrades on the Anna Holbrook building for $26,500. For those that weren't here Monday, the request was made, I had it on my agenda for Monday, and I had asked for invoices, and thank you, Dustin. Dustin got them to me immediately, and I appreciate that. And I didn't realize, because I asked for that, you had to be here again tonight. I'm sorry. But it's just my accounting background. I got to have invoices. But I have invoices, and they are perfect. Thank you. So I would like to make a motion that we approve the $26,500 for the remodel and upgrade to the Anna Holbrook building.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, it is done. Thank you.
I
Go
got to,
ahead.
can I?
Sure.
I got to brag on my other little team out there, the Public Works people. Total litter pickup for this past month was 420 pounds. That's trash on the side of the streets. Public Works chipping report, 407. They were in my neighborhood last night. It was about 4:30, and we had stacks of limbs in front of just about everybody's house, and they were out there that late and still had more to do in my neighborhood. So I'm proud of them. And I asked the director of the department to give me a list of everything they do, because I just thought they did the trash pickup and the chipping. Here's what they do, at least some of what they do. I'm just going to read what he wrote. We are responsible for the ground maintenance at all of the city properties, including the city buildings, the parks, and green spaces. And that would be the cemetery too, wouldn't it, Danny? That's what I thought. We maintain all of the city-owned streets and highways and right-of-ways. We complete the chipping route, which I just gave you that information. We work on all of the city-sponsored events and shows. And that, I don't know if he's going to mention this later, but I have said this story once before, but when I started to run for this seat, my niece and I were downtown at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was right after a major concert event. I don't even know who was playing, but it was a big one, and it was crowded. Not one piece of paper, litter, bottle, nothing on that green space. And I even commented to her, I said, I just expected to walk up, and that early, they hadn't had a chance to clean up. And I talked to Jeremy, and he said, no, we do it before we go home that evening, like at midnight. So it's amazing to me what they do. We put up the Christmas decorations and the tree that is used every year for our tree lighting event, and they take it down. We maintain all of the city parks and playground equipment. We help out all other city departments when the need arises, and they do. I think if I'm not wrong, Dan, don't they, when the street up there fell in, or pipe problems or anything, they're there on the scene,
They are.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah. It's amazing. We do whatever is asked of us that is within our capabilities, and that is true. The reason I asked him to do this, I just recently got back from training as a new council person, and we actually had a whole, I think it was about an hour and a half, of public works, and the guy made a point of saying that that is one of the most important departments you have in the city, because no matter what happens, if it's a hurricane, a tornado, we don't have hurricanes here, but any tragedy, they're on the scene. So they do pretty much everything that's needed, just like it said here in the comments. So I just want y'all to be as proud of them as I am. And if you ever see them out, you know, like in the neighborhood, if you're having your limbs, you know, when they're coming by, usually they come by at the same time. Maybe, you know, thank them, walk outside and give them a thank you, or if it's early in the morning, maybe give them a donut. But anyway, I just hope you're as proud of them as I am, because they do good work and they work very hard. One more thing, March 16th, this Saturday, 8 a.m., we're having a citywide cleanup day, picking up trash. All your supplies will be provided, your gloves, your vest, your trash bags, and those little sticks that you use to pick up the trash. Everybody's invited. So, and I understand, I think the Women's Club is providing water. Is that right, Lisa? That's correct. And I think the Loganville Arts Society is going to be there, didn't they send? Yeah. So I don't know what other groups, but everybody's welcome. And I think that's all I've got.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Patty. I also want to mention one thing just for the fire folks. I know all of you read about the incident we had at the Muse, where we had a fire in an apartment and we had 2 fatalities, and that's really tragic and we hate it. They finally determined that the cause of the fire was a cigarette butt thrown into a trash can. So please, y'all, keep that in mind if you do still smoke, that it is very, very, very dangerous. However, if you know the Muse apartments, as in most apartments, they have 4 quadrants in each building, and this was a lower right side, and the fire department contained it to that unit, and that unit only. The bedroom that was involved was pretty well smoked up and destroyed, but there were 8 other people living in the other 3 apartments. And you've seen where sometimes when there's a fire, the whole thing goes up, and then the adjoining buildings and this, that, and the other. So we were very, very fortunate in a tragic situation. Our response time on fire and police is in the neighborhood of 4 minutes. The folks ask us, what do I get for living in the city? Well, the police and the fire have about a 4-minute response time for whenever you need them. If you're in the county, it's anywhere from 14 to 18 minutes. So it saves lives, and we're here to do that, and we're pleased to do it, but it ain't cheap, and we understand that. So with that said, we'll call on Danny Roberts, City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to touch on that, some of the older folks in the room, smoke detectors. If you can't check them, call the fire department. They'll come and help you install them. As long as you live in the city limits, that's our authority. So, but if you live in a county, you can call Walton County or Gwinnett County, and they'll do the same. So make sure you have those smoke detectors.
Good point, and I believe one of those in that apartment were not working.
Yeah, I don't know if they've determined that yet or not, but it was not going off when I arrived at about 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock, whenever it was. But yeah, just if you don't have them, go home and check them tonight and replace the battery, because we just sprung forward, right? Yeah, so.
It was tragic.
We also give out smoke detectors too. We have a program we started back when I was the fire chief. We got them from the state. So they're lithium 10-year. Once 10 years, you just throw them away. So call the fire department if you need that, or call City Hall and we'll direct you where to call.
Please do.
The only thing I got, sorry about the score forms, but we forgot to put funding sources on the consent items and for the Logan Pump Grinder Station. So I would like for y'all to, do they got to amend their motions? Or amend their motions. So just for the record, item 2B would be ARPA. Item 2C, which will be ARPA/capital fund. And then item 6A will be ARPA as well. We just got to have that in the record, so the audit comes, they can see we had funding source. It wasn't from the general fund or the enterprise fund.
You need a motion for that?
Yes.
Okay, could we have a motion that motion be amended?
So the two consent agenda, we did discuss it.
We did, it's just not in, we got to have it for the minutes.
Basically, you're essentially just,
Put it in the record.
all you're really doing is, it's a motion to amend the agenda itself to identify those fund sources literally on the agenda so that the auditors understand that even though I know y'all discussed it and we all know we discussed it and said, oh yeah, that's going to go to ARPA, but then your paper trail is more tighter and makes their life easier.
So do we want to go through individually?
As long as there's agreement as to all of them, there's no problem with the motion being combined.
You okay?
Yeah, just do it as one.
Okay. So for the stormwater drainage projects engineering, those were the two by Precision Planning. For the Chandler Hawk pump station storage, that was also engineering by Precision Planning. And to the Logan pump grinder, the funds for those will be from ARPA and then additionally from capital recovery as necessary.
Yes. And that way we can just have it for the minutes.
That's my motion.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It's carried. Thank you for getting that put in the record.
Thank you. Other thing that's more of information, I'm waiting to hear back from Walton Clean and Beautiful, but they have contacted me about doing another shred day. They have not confirmed the date yet, but I spoke on y'all's behalf because I'm sure y'all would want to do this again. We did last year to let them use the grounds here for another shred day. Are y'all okay with that? Let me go ahead and tell them. Okay. I believe that's all I have. Once we get the dates, we'll let you know.
I believe that's also sponsored by the Loganville Lions Club.
I don't know.
Yeah, they just
Okay.
gave the money for it. That's a good thing. Okay? With that, we'll move to the person that kept us here till 11:05 Monday night. Paul Rosenthal, City Attorney.
Just going to have to clarify that, Mayor. I did not
just wanted
keep
to
you
get it
here.
in the record.
I did not keep you here until 11:05 at night. I just happened to have to stay here with you and got the pleasure of staying here with you until 11:05 last night. We have two items tonight. One is discussion only. I know that Monday night was a long night, so we didn't get into it too much. Happy to answer any questions on the alcohol ordinance. Also happy to meet with any of y'all individually throughout the month to talk about it. Comprehensive alcohol ordinance rewrite, as we discussed. Because your alcohol ordinance hadn't been updated in quite a while and some of the changes had some conflicts in them. So we brought you forward with that alcohol ordinance. It's got a lot of good things in it, a lot of new things for y'all. So if you have any questions, let me know. Assuming that everybody's okay with it, even if there's more edits or more tweaks or we don't want that or what about this, then that'll come back before you next month in April for discussion on Monday night and passage on Thursday, April, can't remember the date, but mid-April if y'all are ready for it. If you're not, we can take it to another month if you want to. So that's the alcohol ordinance. Rewrite is a complete rewrite. It does not remove any rights of anybody that currently has an alcohol license. It offers and adds some more types of alcohol license and some more locations where alcohol licenses can be purchased. The easiest example coming to be special event venues. That's one that was discussed in detail. And it offers different types of alcohol licenses that you don't currently have, which are new licenses that have come into play under Georgia law under the last 10 years, such as brew pubs and what we call in-town distilleries, in-town breweries, those sort of things. If anybody's been to Creature Comforts in Athens or Southern Brewing in Monroe, those types of in-town brewing facilities. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you have on the alcohol. No action need to be taken on that tonight.
Okay. And do we need to do anything on this splosh?
We do. I was just waiting to see if I was ready to move on. So if you're ready, we'll move on to the next item. We do need action from this. This is the SPLOST IGA. This is for the upcoming SPLOST to go into effect January 1, 2025. Georgia generally almost always uses a 6-year, 72-month SPLOST. You already have this SPLOST in place, so this is not a new tax. This is a replacement of that ongoing existing SPLOST. That'll be on the ballot for May 21st for the citizens to make that decision whether or not to renew that SPLOST. This IGA, you need to take action on it tonight, and what it does is it sets an agreement between you and Walton County and the other cities of Walton County as to how the money comes in and how the money goes out. Essentially, under SPLOST law, under Georgia law, the county controls it, runs it. The money comes from the state, then the money goes from the state to the county, and then the money comes from the county and then disperses down to the cities in accordance with this agreement. Essentially, the agreement is such that the Tier 1 project of the new jail, Walton County Jail, the bond payments will be paid first out of this SPLOST, and then the balance will be paid at a 60-40 pro rata between the county and the cities, which is an improvement of 5%, if I remember correctly? Yes. 65-35 last time?
Something like that,
Yeah, so it's an improvement of 5 or 6% for the cities this go around, much better improvement. And then the pro rata is between those cities, with Loganville getting about 13.5% of that 40%. Be happy to answer any questions you have, but I will need action on this, authorizing the mayor and I believe the city manager or the city clerk to execute this SPLOST IGA.
Paul, is it fair to say, if this should not be approved, the items on that list that still would have to be done, just as a course of work, would have to be paid for through property taxes?
Other funding sources would certainly have to be acquired to pay for projects that are identified to be funded with SPLOST. It's important for me to just highlight that you guys and this city cannot campaign or speak in favor or promote or advertise, we want it, we want it. You can educate, you can inform, but you cannot campaign, promote, or lobby for the passage. It is a voter item. We've had this discussion before on some items are appropriate for y'all to make the decision on, and other items are appropriate for the voters to make the decision on. And under Georgia law, the voters of Walton County will go to the polls on May 21st to make that decision on the yes or no vote. So, but to answer your question, yes, is if you don't have this funding source, then, and you need to do the projects, obviously you'll have to have other funding sources. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, but we are looking for a motion on this.
Okay. Do we have a motion for the Walton County SPLOST IGA?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the mayor and the city manager to sign the Walton County SPLOST IGA.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, it will be done. Okay, Paul, anything else?
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. And this brings me to the hardest part of the business. We need a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion to adjourn in several seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting is adjourned, and again, thank